I really need to finish this list before Season 5 puts it out of date, so let's get on to Driller's weapons, starting off with his signature CRSPR flamethrower, and its alright set of overclocks. Considering its limited range, the added reach of Fuel Stream Diffuser is quite welcome, letting you play a safe distance away and also hit bugs all the way on the ceilings. More on the topic of reach, having that stat nerfed with compact feed valves is surely felt, though the ammo buffs are also felt, so it about evens out. Strangely though, lighter tanks gives an identical ammo up and with no extra trade-offs, meaning, for a simple way to open up a couple mod slots, one of these will be your pick, but probably not the other. Also, the other clean, sticky additive, gives such a tiny bonus to your sticky flames that you're better off just taking duration mods with one of the prior overclocks, or this next one altogether, that being sticky fuel, which makes the CRSPR's already potent sticky flames way stronger, and into one of the most reliable defensive tools in the game. Then lastly, there's Face Melter. It ruins your range, you definitely feel the smaller tank, and the damage has a hard time competing against sticky fuel, but at the very least, it's not bad against Mechterra, and the flow rate makes it one of the fastest ways to overheat robots. Overall, 4-ish out of 6 is fine, although something to note is that none of these really change the flamethrower that much. Fuel Stream and Sticky Fuel both do well to push its mechanics, but the rest are just 1 or 2 mods away from being almost identical, which is a quality that I think brings the CRSPR down to a C. It's probably D tier material on the right day, but luckily for it, that day isn't today. Anyways, opposite to it elementally, you've got the freezing powers of the Cryo Cannon, and its set of overclocks that are pretty cool. Starting simply, improved thermal efficiency adds what's essentially a bigger mag with some ammo sprinkled on top. It's a welcome buff to sustain and, notably, is an enormous help for freezing big bugs, especially dreadnoughts. Conversely, if you're okay with the mag that's smaller, yet super snappy, flow rate expansion's upped flow rate will help you freeze small bugs before they can get anywhere near you. And weirdly enough, Tuned Cooler's higher freezing power places it somewhere between those two, but it also comes with a clunky wind-up increase and an even clunkier reload nerf, so I can't exactly justify it. Next, if you just want to kill bugs with the Cryo without the hassle of weapon swapping or waiting on teammates, Ice Storm's extra damage to frozen enemies will help you do just that, just mind the lower freezing power. Also, if that seems like too big an ask for that kind of convenience, you've still got the alternate fire modes of these last 2 overclocks. Firstly, the aptly named Ice Spear gives you access to Ice Spears, which, on command, you can sling at any bug that you want dead. And second, there's the also aptly named Snowball, which, surprise surprise, gives you access to snowballs, the perfect tool for flash freezing any group of bugs, especially Mechterra. So, all in all, with its many kinds of cold-themed overclocks and a great 5 out of 6 being usable, the Cryo Cannon is solidly A tier. Now for a personal favorite, we have the spreader of toxic effects, the Sludge Pump. And matching the weapon's greatness is a great selection of overclocks. Kicking it off, Hydrogen Ion Additive cleanly buffs its on-hit effects, giving flexibly better defense against both faster and larger targets. Alternatively, Disperser Compound trades out some of the damage in favor of far more goo, giving a huge bump in crowd control. Then, doubling down on maximizing goo and segueing us into the transformative overclocks, you can pick Goo Bomber Special, which, sure, it loses a lot of versatility, but how else are you supposed to recreate the Goo Bomber's long-lasting lights of sludge? Then there's AG Mixture, which casts away the projectile drop, letting you harass bugs at truly any range, and Volatile Impact Mixture, which swaps out DOT for direct damage, hampering your crowd control but letting you pop bugs almost instantly and pummel down big bugs better than any other driller primary. And lastly, Sludge Blast's shotgun-like charge shot is a hybrid of the two, letting you take chunks out of big bugs from up close or entire swarms from across the cave. Obviously, with a perfect 6 out of 6 spread and all great innovations on ways to spread goo, the Sludge Pump gets a spot solidly in S. Then there's Driller's straightforward sidearm, the Subata, and its pretty good set of overclocks, which, strangely, shares 2 with the Bulldog, the first of which is Homebrew Powder, and unfortunately, unlike with the Bulldog, its damage gain is lackluster, and worse, You can't feel the randomizer gimmick on a gun as fast firing as this. Then the second shared overclock, chain hit, does work the same, although not to the same effect. Fortunately for the Subata, the fire rate makes the RNG far less awkward, and it just so happens that Tier 5 NCTC combos perfectly with it, letting you start explosive chain reactions with absolute ease. Next, oversized mag does exactly as its name suggests and gives enough mag size to basically turn the Subata into a second primary. Automatic fire also does as its name suggests, and despite the kick, is a great addition for anyone whose fingers get tired or just want consistent burst damage. Though for even better burst damage, you also have explosive reload. The delayed detonation is a bit strange, but kinda lets you feel like one of those comically strong samurai whose opponent only dies once their sword is resheathed. And finally, tranquilizer rounds give the Subata a chance to stun, and it's a stun so ridiculous that I don't have the words for it. Only surprise and giddy laughter. So with only one stinker on hand, while the remaining 5 turn it into wildly varying types of pistols, I think the Subata sits neatly in A. And then there's the deceptively strong plasma pistol, the EPC, with its, okay, so I described it that way because this weapon has thin containment field. For many players, including myself, this mod kind of defines the weapon, and as quick demonstration for only one of the reasons why, anyways, I bring that up here because not only is TCF widely used, but also, both in gameplay and how it's coded, it ends up replacing your charge shot, which is what many of the overclocks are based around. Firstly, on opposing ends of the spectrum in terms of gameplay, there's heat pipe and magnetic cooling unit. With heat pipe, you get to shoot more charge shots at the cost of using basically one at a time, which sure, it can be a cute way to dish out a few more burning nightmares, but chaining or even activating TCF becomes so annoying that it's not even worth it. Meanwhile, magnetic cooling unit's extra cooling is otherwise underwhelming, but does actually let you chain or even just practice TCF pretty comfortably. Then on opposing sides of the spectrum for how it's coded, there's persistent plasma and overcharger. The lingering field that persistent plasma gives is both easy DOT and a very comfortable defense against small pests, but you do lose damage. Then Overcharger exchanges ammo in return for far more power, which lets you chunk down big bugs. But of course, bringing TCF into the picture, it completely overhauls the damage stat, negating the downsides of persistent plasma, making it unreasonably strong, while also negating the upsides of Overcharger, making it actually worse than nothing. But that's enough complicated stuff. We'll move along to energy rerouting. A slight ammo bonus and notably a very hefty change to charge speed makes it easily the most straightforward pick for both general and TCF builds. And finally, if charge shots just really aren't your speed, Heavy Hitter's higher base damage will give you a truly hard-hitting secondary, especially with Cryo. Overall, with, well, I genuinely don't know how to approach this one, so I guess we'll just call it B tier? Finally, there's the quirky handheld microwave, the Wave Cooker. A weapon with some really great overclocks, sans these first two. Liquid cooling system and its tweaks to heat buildup are just too small to actually feel. And though super focus lens's damage boost is not at all negligible, 4 meters is a small window for a weapon with infinite range. Also, Mega Power Supply, which boosts both DPS and ammo, tends to overshadow it as the perfect extension for standard builds, especially since rate of fire doesn't make you overheat any faster. Meanwhile, Diffusion Array's added Pierce and Slowdown is the perfect extension for more niche builds, notably Temp Shock. Then the applied radiation fields from Gamma Contamination is a dot stacker's dream. And lastly, Blistering Necrosis adds the ability to apply blisters, which are a fun way for both you and your team to deal more damage. And so, 4 out of 6 is somewhat standard, but considering that blisters are both complex and completely unique to this weapon, and Gamma Contamination uses a pretty rare status effect, I actually have to bump this to A. And that concludes this part. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, make sure to create a transcription for it on genius.com. Also, consider practicing mindfulness in your day-to-day life, And if you want to support me, slip letters of appreciation under all of your neighbors' doors. One of them is bound to be me. Have a good one, and I'll catch you in the next video.